Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class or Sangha and some attentive chanting. Okay, we'll make a start. I know there's a lot of people going to the weekend retreat today, so they might be busy packing and things. So we'll just carry on. If somebody wants to join, that's fine. Okay, so we've been talking about Maharaja Prthu, and we have learned from Maharaj Prthu and his ruling potency from the Lord. He's been empowered and he's totally opposite to his father, Vaina. And yeah, so we'll just continue about his qualities, really. He's been speaking to the Kumaras, they've glorified him, he's glorified them. And now we're just talking about Maharaj's qualities, see what we can learn from them. So, amongst great personalities, Maharaj Prthu was the chief by virtue of his fixed position in relation to spiritual enlightenment. He remained satisfied as one of who has achieved all success in spiritual understanding. So, remaining fixed in devotional service gives one the utmost in self-satisfaction. Actually, self-satisfaction can be achieved only by pure devotees who have no desire other than to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the Supreme Personality of Godhead has nothing to desire, he is fully satisfied with himself. Similarly, just like the Lord himself, who is Atmaram, similarly, a devotee who has no desire other than to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as self-satisfied as the Supreme Lord. So that's a very high position, which actually shows that the soul is actually self-satisfied. It's because we are covered by illusion and material desires that we behave differently. Otherwise, in quality, our soul is very similar to the Lord, just the quantity is different. Everyone is hankering after peace of mind and self-satisfaction, but these can only be achieved by becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. So that's our goal. Being self-satisfied, Maharaj Prthu executed his duties as perfectly as possible according to the time and his situation, strength and financial position. His only aim in all his activity was to satisfy the absolute truth. In this way, he duly acted. So this is what we want to achieve. That's the real bhakti, when you're not doing mixed bhakti with your own agenda, your own desires. Everything is dovetailed for pleasing Krishna himself. Maharaj Prthu was a responsible monarch, and he had to execute the duties of Kshatriya. So he was a Kshatriya, he was a king, and a devotee all at the same time. So we have so many denominations as well, but we have to recognize that we have these responsibilities and avoid them to the best of our ability. Being perfect in the Lord's devotional service, he could execute his prescribed duties with complete perfection as befitted the time and circumstance and his financial strength and personal ability. In this regard, the word karmani in this verse is significant. Prthu Maharaj's activities were not ordinary, for they were in relationship with his Supreme Personality Godhead. Srila Rupa Goswami has advised that things which are favorable to devotional service should not be rejected, nor should any activity favorable for devotional service be considered ordinary work or fruity activity. For example, an ordinary worker conducts business in order to earn money for his sense gratification. So, an ordinary person is working, he's earning money, and then a devotee may be doing the same job, earning money, but his aim is to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Consequently, his activities are not ordinary, because the ordinary person is just doing it to satisfy his own senses, whereas we think, I will earn money and I will, buy things for my deities and maybe, contribute to the temple to increase the preaching movement, etc., etc. So you have, the Lord's interest in mind rather than just your own interest. So let's do quick prayer, please. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vachalam panghum langyate garim yat kirpatam ham vande Shri Gurun Din Taranam Param Ananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Adhiriyat Nasta Presham Abadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestaki. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj Prthu completely dedicated himself to be an eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendental to material nature. Consequently, all the fruits of his activities were dedicated to the Lord, and he always thought of himself as a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of everything. And for a king, it's probably very difficult to do that. So the more opulent you are, the more fame you have, and it's more difficult to give it up as well. So Maharaj Prthu is a very good example of a renouncement, actually. Maharaj Prthu, who was very opulent due to the prosperity of his entire empire, remained at home as a householder, since he was never inclined to utilize his opulences for the gratification of his senses. So this is the thing. He never considered all these things for his own purpose, his own use. He remained unattached, exactly like the sun, which is unaffected in all circumstances. Being situated in the liberated position of devotional service, Prthu Maharaj not only performed all purity activities, but also begot 5 sons by his wife Archie. Indeed, all his sons were begotten according to his own desire. So after begetting 5 sons named Viditshava, Dhumreksha, Haryaksa, Dravina, and Brika, Maharaj Prthu continued to rule this planet. He accepted all the qualities of the deities who governed all other planets. So since Maharaj Prthu was a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he wanted to protect the Lord's creation by pleasing the various citizens according to their various desires. So he wanted to protect the Lord's creation. So we are all the Lord's creation. Anything material is Lord's creation around us. Everything material and spiritual, the source of the Lord is the source of everything. Therefore, Prthu Maharaj used to please them in all respects by his words, mentality, works, and gentle behavior. Prthu Maharaj used to please all kinds of citizens by his extraordinary capacity to understand the mentality of others. Indeed, his dealings were so perfect that every one of the citizens was very much satisfied and lived in complete peace. For Maharaj Prthu used to rule this planet as a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it was whatever he was doing it as an offering to the Lord. He felt that his duty, that he was representing the Lord himself. So he was doing his job to the best as the Lord would want him to do. Atheists cannot understand the purpose behind the creation. Although this material world is condemned when it is compared to the spiritual world, there is still some purpose behind it. So if Krishna is creating something, then obviously there's a reason behind that. Modern scientists and philosophers cannot understand that purpose, nor do they believe in the existence of a creator. They try to establish everything by their so-called scientific research, but they do not center anything around the Supreme Creator. A devotee, however, can understand the purpose of the creation, which is to give facility to the individual living entities who want to load it over material nature. And scientists would never think, we didn't have the scriptures, we would never understand this. We would follow the scientists' theories and speculations of everything. And we would never think that this world, this universe was created for our purpose. And we're trying to load it over, that it doesn't really belong to us, but we ultimately think everything belongs to us. If I paid for it, it's mine. It's like that. But scriptures reveal something totally different. The ruler of this planet should therefore know that all the inhabitants, especially human beings, have come to this material world for sense enjoyment. It is therefore the duty of the ruler to satisfy them in their sense enjoyment, as well as to elevate them to Krishna consciousness, so that they all can ultimately return home back to Godhead. So this is a very good point, that we are here because we wanted to enjoy. So once we exhausted that enjoyment, we realize that this is really, it's really very temporary, and this is really not any significant flavor in what we are doing. And then we start looking for something a bit more permanent, something a bit more substance. So sometimes you have to experience things to appreciate them or not appreciate them. See what I mean? So there's three ways we can learn from things. We can learn by hearing about something. If somebody tells you, yeah, this, don't do this, it's no good. So, if you can respect that, if you can respect the scriptures, that's good. Sometimes you appreciate things by seeing them with your own eyes. So, not just hearsay. You want to see, yes, this is really not good. But the third way, which is or you could say the third class way. So you got first class hearing, second class seeing, and the third class way is by actually experiencing that thing and realizing, yes, it is very mundane, it is flavorless, it's really not good for us, it's not good for my health, or it's not good for my bhakti, whichever. This is what we do in life. And I'm no better myself. If somebody advised me, I would probably never take their advice. If I saw it, then I might think, yeah, I think they're right. But normally we end up experiencing that situation to really understand it. So that's third class nature. So really, we should, especially from the scriptures, we should hear from authority and change our ways before we have to experience the pain and the stress. So Maharaja Prthu became a celebrated a king as Somaraj, the king of the moon. He was also powerful and exacting, just like the sun god, who distributes heat and light and at the same time exacts all the planetary waters. So in this verse, Maharaja Prthu is compared to the king of the moon and sun. The king of the moon and the king of the sun serves as examples of how the Lord desires the universe to be ruled. So the moon and sun are equal to everyone. The sun distributes heat and light and at the same time exacts water from all planets. The moon is very pleasing at night, and one becomes fatigued after a day's labor in the sun. He can enjoy the moonshine like the sun god. So it shows the Lord has thought of everything. He knows what we'll be going through. Prithu Maharaj distributed his heat and light to give protection to his kingdom. For without heat and light, no one can exist. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj exacted taxes and gave such strong orders to the citizens and government that no one had the power to disobey him. On the other hand, he pleased everyone just like the moonshine. So Prithu Maharaj, he was very kind to everyone, very caring, but at the same time, he was firm as well. So people, they could not take advantage unnecessarily, and they be disciplined. Both the sun and the moon have particular influences by which they maintain order in the universe, and modern scientists and philosophers should become familiar with the Supreme Lord's perfect plan for universal maintenance. So Maharaj Prthu was so strong and powerful that no one could disobey his orders. So he was very firm in his orders, and any more than one could conquer fire itself. So he was seen like fire, you could not fight. You have to be submissive. He was so strong that he was compared to Indra, the king of heaven, whose power is insuperable. And on the other hand, Maharaj Prthu was also as tolerant as the earth. And in fulfilling various desires of human society, he was like heaven itself. So somebody might be firm and strict, but if you see them also as being kind and gentle as well, in your time and circumstance, then you don't mind them being firm and strict, because you know that they are thinking of our welfare. But if they're always strict and then you think, what's going on here, this is not really in our favor. But if they can be good as well when required and firm when required, you just think, well, so be it. It is the duty of a king to give protection to the citizens and to fulfill their desires. At the same time, the citizen must obey the laws of the state. Maharaj Prthu maintained all the standards of good government, and he was so invincible that no one could disobey his orders any more than a person could stop heat and light emanating from a fire. He was so strong and powerful that he was compared to the king of heaven, Indra. In this age, modern scientists have been experimenting with nuclear weapons, and in a former age, they used to release Brahmashastra. But all these Brahmastras and nuclear weapons are insignificant compared to the thunderbolt of the king of heaven. So that was even more powerful than the Brahmastra. It's mentioned here. When Indra releases the thunderbolt, even the biggest hills and mountains crack. On the other hand, Maharaj Prthu was as tolerant as the earth itself, and he fulfilled all the desires of the citizens, just like torrents of rain from the sky. Without rainfall, it is not possible to fulfill one's various desires on this planet. So, as stated in Bhagavad-Gita 3.14, Prajanayad Anna Sambhavaha. Food grains are produced only because rain falls from the sky, and without grains, no one on the earth can be satisfied. Consequently, an unlimited distribution of mercy is compared to the water falling from the clouds. Maharaj Prthu distributed his mercy incessantly, much like rainfall. In other words, Maharaj Prthu was softer than a rose flower and harder than a thunderbolt. So, well, he didn't want to be on his wrong side, that's for sure. In this way, he ruled over his kingdom. Just as rainfall satisfied everyone's desires, Maharaj Prthu used to satisfy everyone. He was like the sea in that no one could understand his depth. He was like Meru, the king of hills, in the fixity of his purpose. Maharaj Prthu's intelligence and education were exactly like that of Yamraj, the superintendent of death. His opulence was comparable to the Himalaya mountains, where all the valuable jewels and metals are stocked. He possessed great riches like Kuber, the treasure of the heavenly planets, and no one could reveal his secrets, for they were like the demigod Varun. In his bodily strength and in the strength of his senses, Maharaj Prthu was as strong as the wind, which can go anywhere and everywhere. As far as his intolerance was concerned, he was just like the all-powerful Rudra expansion of Lord Shiva, or Sadashiv. So he was very tolerant and intolerant at the same time, it seems. But he was intolerant to fools, to nonsense. In his bodily strength and in the strength of his senses, Maharaj Prthu was strong as the wind, which can go anywhere and everywhere. As far as his intolerance was concerned, so if you mentioned that, Shiva and Sadashiv, in his bodily beauty, he was just like Cupid. And in his thoughtfulness, he was like a lion. In his affection, he was just like Swayambhuva Manu. and his ability to control, he was like Lord Brahma. In his personal behavior, Prithu Maharaj exhibited all good qualities, and in spiritual knowledge, he was exactly like Brihaspati. In self-control, he was like the supreme personality of Godhead himself. As far as devotional service was concerned, he was a great follower of devotees who were attached to cow protection and the rendering of all service to the spiritual master and the brahmanas. He was perfect in his shyness and in his gentle behavior. And when he was engaged in some philanthropic activity, he worked as if he were working for his own personal self. So this is amazing, the qualities of Prithu Maharaj, because normally, as we know, that we don't have the six opulences of the Lord, but it seems that Maharaj Prithu had all these qualities of knowledge, wealth, beauty, even renunciation as well, strength. All the qualities are exhibited by Maharaj Prithu. But the only difference is, compared to the Lord, these qualities are limited, whereas the Lord has these qualities unlimitedly. That's the only difference. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ideal self-controller of brahmachari. When Krishna was elected to be the president of Rajasuya Yajna performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. So we talk about Krishna now. Give an example that because grandfather Bhisham Dev was a brahmachari, he was quite fit to distinguish a brahmachari from a vyabhichari. Although Prithu Maharaj was a householder and father of 5 children, he was still considered to be most controlled. So I think the reason is one who begets Krishna conscious children for the benefit of humanity is actually a brahmachari. So if you're not doing something for sense gratification, he had children for Krishna consciousness, he had children for a particular purpose, and he did all the rituals in the yajna, Garbhodhan, yajna, he did that. So he did it as like duty, not as for sense gratification. So then he's considered a brahmachari. So Prabhupada mentions that one who simply begets children like cats and dogs is not a proper father. The word brahmachari also refers to one who acts on the platform of Brahman or devotional service. In the impersonal Brahman conception, there is no activity. Yet when one performs activities in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is to be known as brahmachari. Thus, Prithu Maharaj was an ideal brahmachari and grihastha simultaneously. So it's amazing, we would never imagine, even thinking that was possible, but yes, it is possible to be brahmachari and grihastha at the same time and have children. Amazing. So other devotees must follow in the footsteps. This is the devotees who are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, like Prithu Maharaj. Srila Narottam Das Thakur said, "Ay Shya Gosani Yanar Muni Tanar Das, I am prepared to become the disciple of anyone who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis." Throughout the whole universe, in the higher, lower, and middle planetary systems. So as you know, we have 14 planetary systems. Our planetary system with all the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Earth, etc., etc. We are on the 7th from top, and there's 7 planetary systems below us and 6 above us as well. So throughout the universe, in the higher, lower, and middle planetary systems, Prithu Maharaj's reputation was loudly declared, and all ladies and saintly persons heard his glories, which were as sweet as the glories of Lord Ramchandra. So this is amazing, he's compared to Indra, he's compared to Ramchandra, he's compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. So this is the amazing glories of Prithu Maharaj. But the interesting thing is that although Prithu Maharaj is so glorious, he has all the qualities, all the opulences, still it's all temporary. So this is the nature of this material world. It's all temporary. So next week, Prthu Maharaj will be going home. So we nearly come to the end of this pastime. But what an amazing eye-opener. And we can learn so much from Prthu Maharaj. Even just a little bit. Obviously, we can only follow his in the footsteps. We cannot reach his standards because he was empowered by the Lord himself. The Shakti Avesha Avatar. He had the power from the Lord. He was sent for this particular purpose. When in times of trouble, this is what Lord Krishna does. He either comes himself or he sends his representatives to help. He's very caring. The Lord himself is very caring, and he looks after his devotees and his creation. So thank you so much for joining. My father-in-law is there, Hina Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Mother Sham Sundar Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, and Sarvashriya Mataji. Thank you for joining. I would like to start with Mother Sham Sundar Prabhu. Would you like to say something? Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Prabhuji, very nice class. So many things to understand and learn. Yeah, I don't want to add anything. That's a very nice class. Hari Bol.
So anything stood out for you, Prabhu, in this talk? Anything that you found interesting? That you'd like in your life, one quality that you would like to imbibe in yourself that you saw in Maharaj. And that's the idea, because we're reading about it and then we're thinking, yes, this is what I'm lacking. Maybe I could do a bit of this myself. At least we endeavor. Getting something is in Krishna's hand, but endeavor is in our hand.
Yeah, you can. I know, but this class is, I understand, you can try to do as much you can for the Lord, and that's why I understand.
So keep Lord in the center, right?
Yeah.
Because we tend to forget, we think about our own selves, our own profit and loss. It's natural. But now everything belongs to Krishna, and whether we get profit, we get loss, it's up to the Lord, and we accept it, right?
Always keep Lord in the center. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hina Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Oh, glory to Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the reading this morning, Prabhu. Really nice class. So many nice points as well about Maharaj Prthu's personal characteristics. How so we can learn about his qualities and hopefully help us imbibe those qualities, about him being self-satisfied and how he was dovetailing all his desires into pleasing Krishna. And a very nice point about how you said he, even despite he had a lot of opulences, he still didn't use them for his own satisfaction, which is definitely very instructive for us as well. So everything that we've been given is not for us, really. If we've been blessed with some riches or money or health, whatever we've got, really, it needs to be used in Krishna's service. It's a gift from him to return back to him. And there were some nice points about how he was very caring. He took on a duty of care. He looked after everyone in creation. And it just reminded me of something else I was reading this week, just around qualities of a first-class devotee. And I think obviously Prthu Maharaj is definitely a first-class devotee. And something that stuck in my head is that a first-class devotee is someone who can deliver others from material desires, and he sees Krishna, or they see Krishna, in all living entities. It makes no distinction between a devotee and a non-devotee. So that's like the highest thought. And I just thought maybe, definitely Maharaj Prthu ticks that box, because obviously his duty of care was there. He looked after everybody in the kingdom. So just a few thoughts there. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful points. Yeah, it's like he understood his purpose of life, his purpose for coming to this. It's like he had a briefing from the Lord. He was saying, like, you're like, this is your mission. If you choose to, if you wish to choose it, and then please go and fulfill this mission as a representative. So he came, and straight away he was, he started doing what was necessary. And although everybody knew, the Brahmanas knew, the citizens knew that he's a gift from the Lord to help us, but he wasn't accepting at the time, saying, please don't glorify me. I haven't done anything yet, and you already glorify me. But then he did live to his reputation. That's the main thing. So if you've been glorified, make sure you produce the goods to fit the glorification. So thank you so much for that. Hare Krishna. So Jai Prabhu is listening. Partha Prabhu, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sorry if I make any wrong statement, please forgive me and chastise me, Prabhuji. So one of the other point which is outstanding for me is like the purpose of creation. It is to give us opportunity to elevate spiritually. And I like that analogy of like soft like rose flower and hard like thunderbolt. So even guru means heavy. So we there are only two people who can chastise us. One is our own father, like here, and then guru. Guru can chastise us, but at the same time he is soft as well. So that's why I thought, Prabhuji, like we'll become eligible to get a guru when we actually understand that. When you actually are able to face that chastisement from guru actually. So I think because guru will not give you anything like spoon feeding, he will put you under tremendous pressure as well. At the same time, he is supporting as well. That's all, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you that question. Why is Prithu Maharaj sort of hard like the thunderbolt as well? But I think you've answered it. So Guru, Father, Guru, and I think maybe King. Does he come into the category of Guru? Would you say, Prabhu?
Yeah, I think, Prabhuji. I mean, because that time king has a duty to help the citizens to elevate spiritually as well.
Yeah, so they're like Raj Rishis, right?
Yeah, Rajarishi. Yes, Prabhuji.
Interesting. Yeah, very nice, Prabhu. Yeah. So they had to be hard on the citizens and kind as well. I think that's the way to go. Would you agree?
Yes, Prabhuji. Like Parishad Maharaj, he was very strict king, but
Yeah.
at the same time, when he saw that somebody killing the cow, he immediately used his sword to kill them. I mean, kill the Kali that time.
Yeah.
So king will be hard. At the same time, he is soft as well.
Yes, very, very good, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Sarvashi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Well, just like Partha Prabhu mentioned that Maharaj Prthu was a Raj Rishi. That means he was the same like Lord. The example was given that he was ruling like Lord Ramchandra, and the citizens were very satisfied. And he had all the good qualities, like similarly to Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he worshipped Lord Krishna with all devotional service, non-devotional service. And he worshipped Brahmanas, and he looked after his citizens like a father to his sons. And he was very kind, very generous king. And that's why he's called, that's how the Rajrishi should be. Not like that nowadays, like these kings, and they think their own welfare, and they don't. So many people are suffering, but in rather Maharaj Prithu's time, nobody was suffering. It was just like Ram Raj. and so everybody was pleased. The citizens were pleased, and the king was both working both ways. So can't describe about the qualities of Prithvi Maharaj, and he was a very nice king, very trustworthy, and believe in God. He was a devotee as well. When somebody is devotee, that person is by nature is nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Yeah, it's top-down culture. So the person at the top has to set the standards, because Maharaj Prthu has set the standards. Because before, when King Vena was there, or when he was killed, everything went out of control. It's not that there weren't people misbehaving. There's plenty of people misbehaving. There was a lot of rogues there. Everything, things went out of control. This is why they had to in Maharaj Prthu to stop this looting and the crimes going on. So criminals were there, but because Maharaj Prthu, he could be very soft and very hard. So criminals were afraid of him. There has to be some fear. You can't just be soft. Then the criminals will laugh at you, and they will just do whatever they want, help themselves do everything. So you have to know that this person is very kind. We ask him nicely and for the right thing. He will help us, support us. But at the same time, the criminals know that if they misbehave, they'll be punished. There'll be strict punishment for them. So I think both things are necessary, and they go side by side for any ruler. Very important. Even at home, for a father as well, he has to be kind, but he has to be a little bit tough. Otherwise, he taken advantage of. Sometimes fathers I've seen too soft, and then kids take advantage of them. But anyway, that's the fatherly love. Sometimes it takes over. Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My take from this class is that when God has created all the different entities and different personalities in different yugas, and the ones like we hear in Bhagavatam, God has shown to us that these qualities are possible to manifest in the living entities. These are not just godly qualities. These qualities can be there in a human ruler, or any ordinary rishi, or any ordinary citizen, so be it. So this shows that we all can imbibe some of these qualities, if not as much as Maharaj Prthu, but if we want, because there is good and bad in each of us in this Kali Yuga. So these qualities are not just there for hearing, they can be imbibed. We can learn that how we can be so loving, and we can be so, to the point in our life as well. So this is all doable. So my prayer to the Lord would be that, please, Lord, bless us, that we can have at least something of each of qualities which Maharaj Prthu has in all of us, being devotees of the Lord. And so we can apply these in our life and be good role models in our family, to our children, to our colleagues at work, to our wider extended family. So, then there'll be no need to preach. This is how I feel, that if we all had good qualities like this in us all the time, we'll be like walking and talking, ambassadors for Krishna. We don't have to even preach to anybody around us. So that's my take from today's class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, well, we hope so, but I don't think it's possible.
A little bit we can show.
So in chapter 16, the divine and the demoniac, Lord Krishna mentions that we all have all these qualities, but they've just been covered up. They've been covered up by illusion, by Maya, by our own desires. So this is why we're hearing and chanting, to remove those coverings. So these qualities start showing. That this is what happens. The qualities are already there. We don't need to go and get them from anywhere. The qualities the soul already has all these qualities just covered up right now, and by hearing and chanting, we can get these qualities. See, we can get these qualities, but the issue is that we have obstacles, and our obstacles are our senses and our mind, and especially the mind, which is quite disturbing. And then the mind, being the neighbor of the intelligence, influences the intelligence as well. So this is this problem that we want those qualities, but we are restricted. And in chapter 3, Arjuna asks Krishna that I want to do all the right things, I want the right qualities, but I don't know what happens to me. Or he's asking on our behalf. So what happens to people? They want to be good, they want to do the right things, but what happens to them? And Krishna says, it's just lust, Arjuna. It's lust that stops us for doing the right thing. And where does the lust reside? It resides in the senses, it resides in the mind, and it resides in the intelligence. So we have to attack that lust, starting with the senses. And how do you attack lust from the senses? By rules and regulations that we're following. So Krishna consciousness is perfect, it's perfect to get those qualities, but obviously it takes time, because lust is also very strong. It's a formidable opponent, so we have to keep trying.
And also, hearing is so much important, and association, like the ones who are going to retreat, that's the reason they're going to retreat, so that they can have good association for continually for 2-3 days. But when you are on your own at home, either you'll be going to weekly sangha or attending a couple of Zoom sanghas in the week, and after that, like Prabhupada says, that everybody has to fly their own plane. What does he mean is that we have to do the hard work ourselves. We have to keep our mind in check, at least, most of the hours of the day. It will go astray here and there, but Prabhupada tells us that we have to do the hard work. Prabhupada says that I have given you all the books, everything, but hard work we have to do. Just like in the material school or in the material situation, you go and work there, but if you work hard, you can rise to the position of the topmost level in your profession, and in the same in the school. And similarly, Prabhupada says that we have to fly our own planes, means that everything is there, all the shastras are there, all the classes are there, but it's our responsibility that how much we want to take from it and how much we want to elevate in this very lifetime. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Rishi Mataji would like to do the first round. Let's do some chanting and pray to the Lord to help us, because without his mercy, nothing is possible. And Partha Prabhu, second round, please. Hare Krishna.